Have you ever stopped to think about what actually happens to your money after you deposit it? It doesn't just sit in a vault somewhere gathering dust. No, it immediately plugs into this massive global network, a financial system that connects every single one of us. So today, we're going to follow that money on its incredible journey from your pocket all the way to the global economy.
Here's our game plan. First, we'll trace the path of your money. Then, we'll unpack something called the investment chain. After that, we'll meet the key middlemen who make it all happen, find out about the guardians keeping everything safe, and finally, we'll look at the global hubs where all this financial energy comes together.
Okay, let's dive right in with part one. Before we get into all the technical stuff, it's really important to see how your own savings are linked to this giant global system.
I mean, it's a pretty simple question, right? But the answer is fascinating. Your money joins a worldwide current of capital that powers businesses, builds infrastructure, and even funds governments. So the real question is, how does it get from your account to, say, a new startup on the other side of the world? And that question leads us right into part two, the investment chain. You can think of this as the financial system superhighway. It's the main route that connects all the people who have money with all the people who need it.
This definition really boils it down. The entire complex financial world is built on one simple fundamental idea: moving money from savers to borrowers. And the absolute key, as you can see here, are the intermediaries, the ones who build the bridges and make the connections.
This flowchart just lays it out perfectly. Over on the left, you've got the savers. That's people like you and me, but also huge players like pension funds. In the middle, you have the financial intermediaries, like banks and brokers. And all the way on the right are the borrowers, the corporations and governments who take that capital and put it to work.
But here's something that's absolutely crucial to remember. This investment chain, as important as it is just one of three core functions of the entire financial world. Let's take a quick look at the other two. So, alongside that investment chain, the system rests on two other pillars. You've got risk management. Think of that as the insurance that protects everyone against losses. And then there are payment systems. That's the whole network that lets you buy a coffee with the simple tap of a card. All three have to work together to keep the global economy humming. So that leads us perfectly into part three. Let's meet these middlemen. We've mentioned financial intermediaries, but who are they? Well, you can think of them as the expert guides who manage your money's entire journey.
Now, you got to know these guides operate in two totally different arenas. First, you have the retail markets. That's for everyday individuals like us, getting a mortgage or a car loan. But then you have the wholesale markets. That is a whole different world where massive institutions are trading enormous sums of money. We're talking pension funds investing billions.
And while we're on the topic of these middlemen, we have to clear up a point of confusion for a lot of people: the difference between a broker and a principal. Understanding this is so important for seeing how deals actually get done. This makes it super clear. A broker, on the left, is basically an agent. They execute trades for a client, kind of like a real estate agent helps you buy a house. A principal, though, is trading for its own account. They're using their own money, putting their own skin in the game, and taking on all the risk themselves.
So we keep mentioning these big players in the wholesale markets, these institutional investors. But who are they, really? Let's pull back the curtain.
It's not just one type of company. It's actually a really diverse group. You've got gigantic pension funds managing retirement savings, insurance companies investing to premiums you pay, and of course, all kinds of different banks. These are the true giants moving the markets.
Okay, so your money is invested. But that leads to another question. Who's actually holding on to those stocks and bonds to keep them safe? This brings us to part four, the guardians of the assets. This incredibly important job belongs to what we call custodians.
The service they provide is called safe custody. And believe me, it is absolutely essential. It's all about securely holding financial assets for investors. Without this, the trust that holds the entire system together would just evaporate.
And a custodian's job is so much more than just sticking your assets in a digital vault. They're also the ones making sure dividend payments or interest checks land in your account. They keep you updated on important company news, and they handle the final settlement of trades. They are the trusted behind-the-scenes administrators for your investments.
And that brings us to the home stretch, part five, global money hubs. We've seen the chain, we've met the players, and we know who the guardians are. So now, let's zoom out and see where all of this activity actually happens on a global map. You can basically group these financial centers into three main types. You have the huge global hubs like London and New York that do everything. Then you have regional centers like Hong Kong or Frankfurt that primarily serve their specific part of the world. And finally, you've got offshore centers like the Cayman Islands, which specialize in handling business for non-residents, often with lower taxes and regulations.
All right, let's wrap this up. What are the key things to remember? 1. The whole system is built on an investment chain connecting savers and borrowers. 2. Intermediaries are the essential guides making that journey possible. 3. Custodians are the guardians protecting the assets along the way. And 4. It all comes together in a network of global, regional, and offshore financial hubs.
So we've seen how this incredibly intricate system works, this machine that connects the world's money. But it leaves you with a pretty critical question, doesn't it? In a system this interconnected, what happens when a single link in that chain suddenly breaks?